Hello drone pilots, my name's Paul Tace. In this video I'm going to give you 3 camera movements I recommend avoiding when flying your drone and shooting cinematic footage. Instead I'm going to give you some tips or some alternatives to use so we can get the best possible footage when flying our drones. So let's get started. Okay guys, so I don't usually like telling people what not to do. I think it's really important to experiment and try different things. However, I found there's 3 camera movements that really don't work well when I'm filming, and I'd like to share these with you now. Okay, so the first camera movement I'd recommend to avoid would be to stand in one spot and have your drone looking around. Now I find when I do this, the speed is never quite consistent. It's always sort of not necessarily jumpy. It just looks a bit weird and it doesn't really work. So what I would recommend doing if you want a shot where you're turning is just to put a slight movement into the drone. If you do this moving forwards, it looks great. And also, if you want to do a slight orbit, so even if you're moving side to side very slightly whilst turning, this will improve your results greatly. Now the next camera movement I would recommend to avoid would be any jerkiness of the camera. Now I know this is pretty general, but it's something that happens quite often. You'll be doing a shot, you'll be flying forwards and you think, oh, it'd be really cool if I turned here, and then you turn, and then when you play that back, the footage looks terrible. So any jerky movements from the camera, I would highly recommend avoiding completely. So to avoid this, what I'd recommend doing is have a shot in mind and just to shoot that shot and hold it until it's finished. You're going to want at least 7 to 15 seconds of anything you're shooting. Just hold the sticks and do not move with any sudden movements. Okay guys, now the last camera movement I'd recommend avoiding when filming with your drone is the pitch up and down on the gimbal if you do this too quickly. So again, I know this pretty much relates to my previous point, but there's things we can do to get around this. I find that when we're looking on a small screen and we do a gimbal movement, it looks good on a small screen, but as soon as you move it over to a bigger screen, it can look really bad if it's moving too fast. So, so I personally really recommend using very slow movements when using the gimbal pitch up and down. The way we can sort this out with our Mini 2s is if we go into the menu, go to Control and go down to Advanced Gimbal Settings, we can set the pitch speed and the pitch smoothness. Now in the pitch settings, I personally wouldn't have the pitch speed anything faster than 20, and usually I'd have it slower than that. Sometimes I'll go down to 12, and sometimes I'll shoot around 15 to 17, but I will control the speed with my with the dial on the remote a bit slower. And the pitch smoothness, I pretty much always shoot with the maximum smoothness, which is 30. It's also worth pointing out in here we can control the yaw speed, which is how quick the drone will turn side to side, and also the smoothness for this in the different modes of the drone. So I personally again would recommend having a play with this, see what works for you, and that can help you get smoother movements when flying your drone. So as I said at the beginning, we want to bear in mind there are always times we can break the rules. For example, if you put the pitch speed up really fast, you can get transitions like this. So if you're interested in creating a video like this, it's going to be one of the videos on screen now. That's it for this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.